I've talked a lot about the PS1 on this channel. I've made numerous lists over several games like 2D platformers, shoot 'em ups, puzzle games, and action-adventure titles, and many, many more. I just love this console. There's a lot to talk about, and I know a lot of you guys watching love this system as well, and it's just fun to share what our favorites are and potential candidates for these lists. I did a poll on this channel not too long ago, and it looks like you guys voted mostly for 3D platformers. And 3D platformers are awesome games to talk about, so I decided, you know what, let's do it. Let's talk about some games that are on the PlayStation 1 that you definitely should check out at some point in time if you have heard of them or you haven't heard of them. To also make this list kind of interesting, there will not be any Crash or Spyro games in this list. I love Crash and Spyro, but it's a little too easy to put them on this list. We all know they're good. What about the other games on this console? And that's why I'm here today. Sit back, relax, let's go over some pretty fun 3D platformers to play on the original PlayStation. If you're not going to play Crash or Spyro on the PlayStation 1, then duh, you're going to play Ape Escape. This game is fantastic, one of the best games ever made, one of the best 3D platformers ever made, at least in my opinion. The control scheme is definitely strange at first, but it works well with how you do it. Use the right control stick to do your attacking and catching monkeys. X, square, triangle, circle are your gadgets, how you select them. You jump with R1, which I think it works pretty well with this game, and it controls fantastically. And the visuals are great, and the music is great, and of course all the levels are fun to play through. As I've said in other videos, I think Nintendo was jealous of this game when it came out because, yeah, they had Banjo-Kazooie and Mario and such, but PlayStation, we had Crash, Spyro, and Ape Escape. We had our own little platform war here going on, and I think the PS1 did a very good job on all that they had. Ape Escape is no brainer, and plus if you want to play this game, you can play this on original hardware, the PS5, so check this one out at all costs.
Yes!
Being considered one of the first 3D platformers, people think about Mario 64 because it kind of revolutionized how it should be, but truly the one that kind of did it first was Jumping Flash. It's not the first 3D platformer in existence, but it's definitely one that made it kind of mainstream, but it's kind of like a Doom clone mixed with 3D platforming, and it's definitely got a lot going for it. Rather than having one hub world and go into other worlds within the same game, you have an arcade style game here where there's a score system, you beat a level, you move on to the next, and eventually you fight a boss, and then you'll go to the next world. The gameplay here is quite good. It looks kind of outdated, but when you start playing it, it's a pretty good game in terms of speed, and whenever you jump, you actually look down while you're in the air so you know where you're going to land. There's really fun power-ups you can get and shoot at enemies, and it's just fun jumping all around the level, getting those jet pods, and getting to the end. The Jumping Flash games definitely don't get the credit they deserve. They're awesome games, and they're definitely must-plays if you're a 3D platform enthusiast.
All right.
40 Winks was a game that I remember seeing all the time about 25 years ago, back when I was a child, and I always was curious about what this game was like, but I always passed on it because there were better options to rent. I finally reviewed this game almost a year ago, back when I first started this channel, and it's actually a pretty fun game. You play as these kids in this game, Rough and Tumble are their names. You pick one of the characters, and you go through these wacky worlds in like a sleep theme kind of game here, and you collect these things called winks. Not too sure what a wink is, but all I know is this game is a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool power-ups you get as either character, and the levels themselves are very fun to play through, and the game also just looks really good. This game also was made on the Nintendo 64 as well, but we never got the game back in the day, at least here in the States. It got re-released by a third party not too long ago, maybe about 10 years or less ago, so playing it that way is also kind of interesting. I like the vibe of this game for sure. It's definitely a collectathon heavy game like Banjo where you have to kind of get everything to progress through the game, but it's still well done and a fun time. If you're curious, definitely give 40 Winks a look. I'm sure a lot of you guys were hoping for this one to get on the list, and Toy Story 2 is definitely a solid game. I never played this back in the day as a kid. I actually played A Bug's Life as a kid, and that was a really good game as well. But Toy Story 2, I found this at Goodwill about 5 years ago for $2, and then I picked it up, and I said, you know what? A lot of time has passed, let's play this game. And I played it, and I was not disappointed. The level design is fantastic in this game. They are on point with the source material here. They take Andy's house, and it really feels like Andy's house from the movie. It's definitely heavy on the collecting, but it's not too bad because it's still fun to do because you have so many things you can do in these levels. It also has very good analog control, so if you got a DualShock controller laying around, definitely use it with this game. Mentioning A Bug's Life, I wanted to share footage of that game as well because that game was also made by Traveler's Tales, which is the same guys who made Toy Story 2. This game is also great. More of the puzzle platforming side, but if you haven't checked out A Bug's Life, you definitely should. It's a well-made game and a cheap one too on the console. Thankfully, you can play it on modern systems here for Toy Story 2, or if you want to play it on N64. So there's multiple ways to play it, and you gotta check this game out and A Bug's Life any way you can. I remember Pac-Man World being for rent all the time back in the day, and I never really gave it a solid chance. As I mentioned for 40 Winks, there were just better options out there. But as I got older with disposable income, I bought this game finally at some point years ago, and I finally checked it out, and it's not too bad. You've got a fixed camera style here from a top-down perspective with an angle, and you kind of just go through these levels and you just do Pac-Man stuff. You know, you eat power pellets and you take out the bloopers and stuff, and you get a lot of fruit and you open doors. It's definitely not the greatest 3D platformer in the world, but it's definitely not a bad game on this console. Namco did a pretty good job bringing Pac-Man into the third dimension, because they didn't go too crazy like games like Spyro with these full 3D worlds. They kind of just kept it simple. And they decided, you know what, let's keep it Pac-Man, but give him a 3D twist to it. He spawned several sequels that came out after this, and as well as this game is on modern systems as well. So playing this one is very easy for accessibility. If you're craving more 3D platformers that you've already played on this list up to this point, well, definitely check out Pac-Man World. It's a good time. I absolutely loved Rayman as a kid. I played the crap out of the first game, even though I could never beat it because of how hard it was. I still had a fun time playing Rayman nonetheless. When Rayman 2 came out though, oh my god dude, this game changed everything. This was seriously one of the best games I played as a kid. The atmosphere of this game, the whole evolution of Rayman from 2D to 3D, it was just so well done. And the music, the graphics, the gameplay, the characters, everything about this game is awesome. You can run around, shoot lums at enemies, or you can shoot lums at those grappling swing shot things to get across levels. We'll do a lot of climbing and exploring, and you'll use your helicopter. And that's honestly my favorite power that Rayman gets, because that really helps out with platforming. This game, no joke, it was on everything. N64, Dreamcast, PS1, Game Boy, and it came to PS2, eventually to 3DS, and I don't even know, but maybe you could play this on modern consoles, hadn't looked at that. Rayman 2, The Great Escape is just one of those games that was very huge when it first came out, and if you haven't played it, you definitely need to check this out, especially if you're a 3D platform fan. A very strange memory I have is I had a jam-packed demo disc with a game called Concerto on it, and it was actually in Japanese. It was going to be a future release. I played this game back when I was a child, and now it's like $500 complete in box, which is insane. This game, though, is an action-adventure 3D platformer. There's a lot of text and there's cutscenes, but the gameplay overall takes place as a 3D platforming environment, and you go around shooting bubbles to catch these cats, and you do these missions and go through these crazy places in the world. Visually, the textures in this game are outstanding. CyberConnect and Atlas did a great job with making this game and making it look good. It's a pretty good 3D platformer all the way. It's got a few kinks here and there, and the game is really short. You can beat it in like 4 to 5 hours. That's a little underwhelming compared to the other games on this list. However, it's only on the PlayStation 1, and honestly, I think it's definitely a good game. And if you have played everything else I've mentioned on this list to death, and you want something new for the console, give this one a try. It's actually not too bad. Just know that it's a $500 game, so you're going to have to go another route to play this one.
Wow! Here I come! Ouch!
Bugs Bunny Lost in Time. I have a big story about this game, but it's kind of long, so maybe I'll save it for one day when I review this game. But to mention, this game is a 3D platformer like everything else I've talked about, but in the Looney Tune universe. You play as Bugs Bunny, and you go through time traveling in this one. And it's made by the same guys who made Jersey Devil, which I think is not a good game, but I know people love that game for some reason. And this game is actually quite good. The game starts off with its own tutorial here, and it does take a little bit to get through, but you do need to learn how to play this game, so it is kind of necessary. But once you get to the first true level of the game, you actually start noticing how fun this game is. It takes a lot of puzzle-solving elements and incorporates some 3D platforming, and you just beat the crap out of your enemies sometime, and truly, it feels like a Looney Tunes game in third dimension. There's another Looney Tunes game called Sheep Raider, and this is also a really good game, so just wanted to mention that. But if you like the Looney Tunes and you want to see some more 3D platformers from this era, I definitely recommend Bugs Bunny Lost in Time. This is definitely a good one from the past.
Ouch!
And there you have it. Those are some 3D platformers that are worth playing if you have never heard of them or have never ever checked them out yourself. You definitely should give them a look sometime because these are all pretty solid games. Now, before anyone blasts me in the comments, I know I left stuff out like Croc, and don't get me wrong, Croc is okay, it's a fine game. I have not changed my opinion since I was about 6 years old on those games. Just know that this is my personal list, and if you didn't see your game on this list, well, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your suggestions on what you think are good 3D platformers for the PS1 worth checking out. I appreciate you guys for sticking around to the very end to watch this video. Thanks for watching. Y'all take it easy.